All right, welcome back to the James McGee Show, Two Finger Tuesday. We had some technical difficulties, and you don't get to hear our man. I have a new intro just for Two Finger Tuesday. We're not. I might be able to put it in there later, but man, we've got Tom Wells and Joe Collins has made a comeback. He is back with us, and we're happy to have man both of you. We're gonna dive into some stuff tonight. So welcome both of you. And let's get started on what we drinking. Tom, are you able to drink tonight?
I'm having my favorite Blade and Bow tonight.
Oh, that's a good whiskey. What you drinking, Joe?
I'm going old school with a little Jameson, the IPA edition,
I
with a
Jameson.
huge rock in there. So
that looks like about a four finger. That looks like
That's
one of Mark Krause. That's a Mark Krause two finger.
That's
well,
right.
that's because the rock fills up like half of the glass, more three-quarters of the glass. So
Yeah.
and I had it outside, so it was melting fast. So it's going to be better inside.
Well, and I want to point out too here. So the Ohio National Academy chapter logo.
That's
Sweet. Sweet.
So
baby.
I am drinking George Dickel 8-year. I wanted to drink something Tennessee since we're going to be talking about an officer killed in the line of duty tonight from Memphis, Tennessee. So let's give officer. I want to make sure that I get his name right. Officer Joseph McKinney with the Memphis Police Department was killed in the line of duty this past Friday. So we're going to give a toast. We're going to discuss that, but let's give a toast to Officer McKinney. That there's no greater sacrifice than that, and our thoughts and prayers goes out to the Memphis Police Department and his family, and Godspeed, brother.
Godspeed.
So I did some. I know y'all did some research on this too, and I'm gonna tell you, I mean, it's a sad deal. So what I want to do first is I want to go over some facts. I want to go over the facts and give our listeners the facts, and then we can then we can dive into it. So this past Friday, 18-year-old Jalen Lobley, Lobley, and a 17-year-old opened fire on two officers while they were investigating a suspicious vehicle. Officer Joseph McKinney and Lobley were killed. 17-year-old and another officer were wounded. About a month ago in March, Lobley was arrested in a stolen vehicle and a firearm. He's 18 years old, and the firearm was converted to a it was a handgun, was converted to a fully automatic weapon. And he was also in possession of a programming device to steal cars. He had admitted to stealing two other cars, and he was released on his own reconnaissance. He was released ROR by, I don't know what a judicial commissioner is, but it's called the judicial commissioner, released him on that, despite the district attorney strongly objecting because of the nature of the crime. So I have some quotes from Mayor Paul Young, because this is some of the things that I want to dive into. Mayor Paul Young, his two quotes from him: "We must demand tougher gun laws. We must demand sentencing that mirrors our love for our community. Sometimes that love needs to be tough love. Together, let's petition our judges and DA for stronger, swift sentencing for violent offenders. If you are part of the judicial system, hear my voice first. We need to work together to do better for our community." Well, I'm gonna let y'all comment, and I'm gonna comment, but that's first thing I'm gonna say is that is political posturing at its finest, right there. Mm-hmm. He said absolutely nothing, and there's definitely some holes in that. So, Joe, give us your thoughts on that first.
Well, I did read a couple of articles on this. In one of the articles that I read, it may have contributed to this guy's release.
Okay.
So it sounds as though they did not do local charges on that firearm and that they were going to go federal. So
I did read that, yes.
The magistrate, whatever the title was, that was determining whether or not that he was going to be released or not, it sounds as though they did not have any weapons charges on that case.
Got you.
So if we take a look at this and break this down, like dissect everything, the things that that particular magistrate was looking at were the vehicle charges. Because if he doesn't have those other charges in front of him, he can't consider them. So this might have been a situation where the officers or whoever was doing the charging felt that they could get a lot more traction federally and didn't charge him with the gun. So the gun theft may not have been in front of that commissioner. So what he was looking at was a stolen vehicle.
So what I read, and I didn't read that was presented, but what I did read was that the district attorney strongly objected to him being released without bond because it was a violent offense. So I read it that the district attorney, whether he had the charges, did present the details because he did state it was a violent offense. So I don't know. I can tell you this: whichever way, that's not acceptable. That's not okay. This man would be alive if he would not have bonded out, if it would not be for this bail issue. I don't think he'd be out.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom, what's your take?
Well, the bottom line is, whether it's that case or any of the other cases I've heard, we already have the tools in place to enforce the law and to make sure that people are either held in jail with the proper assessment of the bond that they need. And we don't need any more gun laws. We don't need any more new laws. We have more than enough laws on the books. We got enough laws to make ourselves choked all the way up to our neck here. The bottom line is we need to start working together and listening to one another. And I appreciate the idea that they were going to go federal with these charges, but and that certainly does present some stumbling blocks potentially. But I just feel like there are so many times where judges these days are looking for opportunities to keep people from being in jail pre-sentence, pre-trial. And I get it. I know the jails are full. I know we're not trying to create even more people being in jail, but I really, like you said, I think that there really needs to be some serious. We need to have a real serious hard look at ourselves to decide what kind of, in a free society, bad things are going to happen. But there needs to be a balance where people feel like they can go and not be more likely a victim and have no recourse to it than to be a victim of crime and have something like this, happen.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, you brought up a good point, and I didn't think about that. So I don't know what I don't know what he was presented with, but
right. Well, that's what the main judge had made that indication, that the only thing that magistrate had in front of them was the vehicle charge, and then again, and this guy needs to be shot dead. Yeah, and you know what? They took care of business. They proliferated evil. However, our system is set up that this guy, obviously nothing before he turned 18 was available because he was a juvenile, right? So whatever he did leading up to his 18th birthday isn't admissible because of the system, right? And then if he doesn't have the weapons charges, and what it really boils down to also is the understanding of the law and whether or not charging somebody locally and federally is double jeopardy, because it's not. They could have charged him in a state for having an automatic firearm as an 18-year-old. And then they could have also charged him federally. I don't know. I'm just thinking all of the possibilities here, right?
No, then that's what we do. We don't want to just jump to judgment like it looks like they may have.
So I think that what happened here is that, and I've said this before, is that we are perfectly designed for the results that we get. In that system there, for this situation, was perfectly designed for the results that they just got, right?
Yeah. They
don't want people in jail. If they didn't present anything except for that one charge on the stolen vehicle, right? The weapons charges weren't there. You can't look at anything that happened before this guy turned 18, which was a couple months ago, probably.
Yeah.
What is an objective person going to look at that person's record? Well, this is the first time that this person, they don't have anything on their record. They got this one charge.
Well, I have a huge issue with Mary Young's solution being gun laws. That is a typical political bullet point that just satisfied somebody. It's a one liner. You master the one liner, and people, oh, we just need gun laws. Well, will you tell me? I want to ask. Obviously, I won't be able to, but I'd love to ask Mayor Young a few questions. I don't understand. There's a couple things I just don't understand how he could, what his solution is. So, Mayor Young, what gun laws do we need? Tell me what gun laws to prevent this crime from happening. One of your officers was killed in the line of duty. What gun law did we need? I think we already had them. He illegally obtained a weapon. He illegally possessed a weapon a month ago. He gets out and he arms himself again, which I'm assuming illegal. I mean, he definitely possessed it. He obtained it illegally because he is not of age. So what gun laws do we need? The solution is constantly with the anti-Second Amendment. Taking guns from law-abiding citizens is going to prevent this officer from being killed? No, it's not. The laws were there. So what is your plan, Mayor Young? What plan do you have? The law wasn't followed. What's the plan? Instead of getting up there and saying, oh, we need tougher gun laws, what about your plan for your community? What about juvenile with guns? And I'm sure, look, it's that's been one of the biggest problems we've had in the last couple of years in my community, and I'm sure it's the same in y'all's community. Tougher gun laws on people like me and you, us three, is not the solution. So quit the posturing, quit the grandstanding about fucking tougher gun laws when we have gun laws there that would have prevented this. So there's no need for any gun laws. If this is what we're trying to prevent, there's no need for any more gun laws. We just have to figure out a plan how to get the legally possessed and illegally obtained guns off of the street. So quit all the posturing bullshit is my point.
Hey, James, here's what I look at. I'll be all about gun control the day that criminals obey them. And that's never going to happen. Exactly. So I'm never going to be for it.
Exactly. It's not going to happen. Criminals are not, I mean, obviously, this kid was busted a month ago with an illegal firearm, was let out without bail. A month later, with another firearm that he illegally obtained, kills a police officer. So what law do we need, Mayor Young? What law do we need? I don't see it. And I'm tired of them getting away with that. I'm tired of politicians being able to just throw that little one-liner bullet out there and them not being called out on it. I think they should have to say, no, this is why. Well, give me a good reason. Give me a good reason of why a stricter gun law would prevent this. There is no reason.
No. I think
go ahead.
No, I think the only thing that can prevent it is that the people that are these type of actors are locked up and kept in jail. You know, you both know David Grossman. You probably heard him speak, and you know, he said that the homicide rate is where it is, and it isn't 10 times as bad because the murderers are locked up. And now what are we doing? We're not putting people in prison. We're not putting in jail. So why is it that Memphis's homicide rate has broken records the last 3 years in a row? Because they're not locking up the killers.
Yep,
that's right. Now, in Mayor Young's defense, he took office in January, but his biggest stance and his biggest platform that he ran on was violent crime. And I watched his interview, and he talked very little about his police officer. He talked very little about his police department, and that was pretty sickening. I don't think that, you know, he was talking to. Watched his interview, and it's very obvious who he was speaking to. He was not speaking to his police officers. He was not speaking to his department. He was speaking to his base that got him elected. And this department needs a leader. And they're not, and from what I'm seeing, they're not getting the leadership right now. Now, I don't know about the chief. I've watched her a little bit. She was Have nothing bad to say about her, but I don't think they're getting the support. And maybe the police officers not getting the support they need from their mayor is a reason why violent crime is just rampant. I don't know where they rank, but I think they're in the top 5 in the last several years.
Well, I'll throw out a gun law that I'll support: an increased, enhanced gun law. You commit a crime with a gun, that's an enhancer that you don't get bail. Period. I'll support that law.
Yeah, they're not talking
I
about
think
that
that's
one, are they?
right.
Yeah. Well, that's an enhanced
I
gun
like
law.
that.
If they want enhanced gun laws, then let's give them one that we can support.
Yeah,
You
and
do
it can
the
be.
crime with a gun, you don't get out.
That's
Yeah.
right. Now, in Mayor Young's defense, maybe that's what he meant. I don't see it. I don't think that's what he meant, just based on what I saw. But yeah, Joe, that is. I'm not against. What I'm against is you infringing on our constitutional right.
Mm-hmm.
When the problem isn't law.
Yeah. Well, and I can't remember how long ago this was. That's a sad state of affairs in the part of the country I live in, and we tend to be a law and order type of place up here in Ohio. Maybe not quite like Texas, but for years now, like if you arrested somebody in a stolen car, you would just give them a court date. They didn't even go to jail to have a bond hearing. You could not bring them to jail; they wouldn't take them. If someone was arrested in a stolen car, it was an OR from the station. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm not, and I realize it's a property crime. I get it, but I mean, an automobile is a valuable piece of property, and there should be at least some sense that if you do something and break the law, that there's going to be some process for it. And the way it's working in our country right now is that people are just simply either not being taken to jail or they're revolving immediately out, and there's absolutely no deterrent to commit crime. The police have very little support. I mean, the judges are making these kind of decisions, and it just seems like it's a systemic problem. It's not just one area. I mean, it's everything where people just feel, I have friends. I have a friend of mine there's an area of town in Cincinnati right now that's being built up and kind of gentrified, and there are people that whenever that happens, people are moved out of an area. Well, when people are in that now entertainment area, they get if they're intoxicated and they're easy victims, well, they get jumped by the people who are the displaced people from that area because they're mad about being displaced, and so they're looking for targets, and it's just it's like we're in this widening gap of class warfare in this country that it's scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the other problem that I had, and I'm gonna go back to Joe making that point. So I don't know all the facts, but the other problem I had with the second part of Mayor Young's quote was stronger sentencing. Well, this kid did not have this criminal. I'm gonna call him a kid. This thug criminal who took the life of a hardworking, dedicated 26-year-old police officer had never been. He didn't have a criminal record. Probably had a juvenile. You're right, Joe. He probably had a juvenile record. But what stronger or in swifter? That doesn't. It's like a politician gets up there and they throws out just some bullshit to get people satisfied. Well, like I said before, we got to call them out on that. That's not the case here. The bail was the problem. He never once, the mayor never once denounced the whether the DA about the bail issue, if there was a drop, if there was a drop, if the DA dropped the ball on the bail issue, or if it was the judicial commissioner, or if it was bail reform that has been passed, and that there was a state rep, didn't get her name. There was a state rep that called out the bail reform bill. So let's call it what it is. Don't get up there and say we need stronger sentencing. That didn't matter in this case. And we need, swifter. And then that did not matter in this case. What happened in this case was the fact that he should have still been in jail. And for whatever reason, he was not. Let's call it what it is.
Absolutely. It's either he wasn't charged appropriately, or the information wasn't given appropriately, or somebody made a decision that went against what the guidelines were, or the guidelines are screwed up. There's really only three factors, right, of those things. And that's really what it boils down to. So it should be easy if you actually take off the people that are looking at it, if they take off their judgment and their bias and actually look at the situation, it should be glaring as to what the issue was. But like you're saying, everybody's got an agenda and they're looking at it from their agenda to try to figure out how they can find whatever it is that will support their belief system, rather than trying to figure out what the truth is.
Well, Tom, what do you?
Well, I really like what you said before. And I want to kind of come back around on this here. The bottom line is that as long as there's evil in this world, police officers are going to get hurt and killed. I understand that. And what people need to do is when something like this happens, they need to be as supportive as possible in both deed and in word of their local police department. And it's really sad, again, like you said, that instead of political posturing, this mayor had an opportunity to showcase who Officer McKinney was, and to talk about the great work that the Memphis Police Department do despite the challenges they have. And instead of doing that, he chooses to make this a political issue, which, again, the gun control rant has become so cliche that nobody, even people that want it don't even believe in it anymore. It's ridiculous. Do the right thing.
Looks like he froze.
Yeah, Tom, you're frozen.
Yeah. So I think what we're getting at, and I agree with Tom on this, is that what you said too about sentencing, that's so far off into the future that that's not even an issue here, because he was not going to be sentenced on anything, right? So saying that you need stricter or tougher sentencing, well, sure you do. But you know what? Let's get on the front end is what's actually going to prevent this from happening, is letting bad people out of jail when you identify who they are.
Yeah, let's do something that's going to matter right now. And that was my point. It sounded like to me that, and this really pisses me off, what it sounded like to me was Mayor Young just threw some things out there, he felt like his base would bite on, and that was all that mattered. Mm-hmm. And that does not matter in this case. In this case, it doesn't matter. So they, like I said, they have to be called out on that.
Well, what politicians will do is that they were presented with the talking points, and that was the two talking points, right? We got to have stricter gun laws, and we got to have tougher sentencing. So that's what he just focused on, because he really has no idea, right?
No.
He's never been boots on the ground. I don't know the guy, but come on. Like what Tom was saying, it's like you just lost a member of your team.
Mm-hmm. It should have been about him. It should have been about him.
It should have never been about the thug.
Yep. It should have been about his officer. But you know what, Joe, I was responsible, especially in the last 3 years of the job that I had. I worked for a politician. I was his chief of staff, and I made sure that when he did any kind of interview, he was prepared. Now, we had a great public information officer. She was great. He was prepared for every single interview. And so he was not prepared. He was not educated on what the real issue was, whether it was him. Well, the words came out of his mouth, so he's responsible for
100%.
Somebody, if it was me, somebody made me look stupid like that, there would be consequences. But I think that's just what people focus on is, or politicians are focused on, what is going to get me out of this? What's going to rile my base up? And I guess he doesn't think the police officers are his base, because he sure didn't show very much concern for them.
No, and I'm going to go back to like what I saw the chief say. The chief was saying the right stuff.
Oh, I agree with that. No, I don't have anything bad to say about her.
Yep. Yeah. She was talking about the officer, their organization, and the fact that she was hurt as a result of this. So that's exactly what needs to be said. And that's what you got to have, emotional intelligence. And it doesn't look like the mayor's got it. So
no, he was thinking his politics.
Yeah.
And hey, look, I was involved in politics a long time. I understand that is necessary. And I understand when you work for Let's see. Tom's trying to get back in. Let's
I don't know.
let's let him
see if
back.
we can
There he
let-
goes.
There we
Oh, we got him back in.
Hey, all we did was talk about you while you were gone.
Yeah, you cannot
saying.
keep a good man down. Tom Wells is back.
Good Lord. I was sitting here and all of a sudden my phone message said, your phone is overheating and the app is shutting down. I'm like, what? And it just gone.
Overheating.
How
Yes.
hot is it up there?
I don't
What,
know.
Do you got a boiler in that camper, or what do you got, man?
I don't know. It's crazy. Well, when I grabbed the phone, it was burning hot.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Tom. So what you missed was we talked a little bit about I've got a problem with the mayor not making it about his officer enough and
Right.
make it more about his politics. And I just don't think he was prepared, and that's his responsibility. I just think he missed a mark. He could the chief. Joe and I both agree the chief said the right things, and she was obviously that's a hard y'all have lost officers,
Mhm.
and y'all understand how hard that is, and being in front of the camera right afterwards. But if I'm a police officer in Memphis, I don't feel very well led right now by supported or led by a mayor right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not. Did my comments get cut off earlier, or did I get them out? I basically I reiterated what you had said there. My really the thing that upset me the most is instead of politically posturing the whole thing, the mayor should have been talking about Officer McKinney in that department. Period.
Yeah,
That's what it should have been about.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's like we talked about. That's emotional intelligence and understanding what your role is. Because I don't know the exact structure of there, but the mayor is either the supervisor or the police chief, or there might be one other person between them.
Yeah.
So the thing is, he's in charge of the police department. It's his responsibility.
Right.
And what other things could possibly be going on in that city that was more important than that?
There's nothing.
No, exactly.
Well, especially when your number one platform for being elected was your plan for reduction in violent crime. And if his plan of reduction in violent crime is gun control and stronger sentencing or pressuring the DAs and the judges, then you have no plan. You used that because what happened was they did a poll. They did a poll during this election and asked his constituents, what's the number one problem? Violent crime. So, I'm going to have a violent crime plan. Well, you showed just this. You don't have a violent crime plan. You don't. If that's what you think, then you're just clueless. Or the person who prepared him for his press conference is clueless.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the number one violent crime plan is get the crooks off the street.
Enforce the laws that we have. We don't need
exactly. That's the only way that you can do it. Get them out of the city or get them in prison.
I mean, we got 1,000 fucking laws on the book. We don't need laws. We need.
Yeah, we don't need nothing. We have everything we need. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what Memphis needs? Leadership.
Yes, that we don't have enough of.
Yeah, they're not getting the leadership that they need historically, and the officers are not being able to do the job that they should be able to do. That's what the issue is.
That's the bottom line, my friend. That's the bottom line.
Well, let's get bigger on this because it ain't just Memphis.
Oh no, it's not just Memphis. Oh God, no, it's not just Memphis.
And that's where it is that there's two messages, and right now it's let's be soft on crime. Let's not hold the bad people accountable because they've been disenfranchised, and we got to give everybody a break. And let's not lock them up. Let's give them another opportunity. That's one side. So there's two choices, right? You can either be tough on crime or you could be doing what they're doing. And what's happening in the major cities that are led by liberal people, this is their choice.
Well, Jalen Lobley was given a second chance a month ago. And what did he do with his second chance? He killed a fucking police officer. So you're right, Joe. That's not working. We got to quit all that thinking we're going to solve it that way. You know what? Let's go back to what's been proven over the years, over the last 100 years. What works is strong law enforcement, strong judicial system. That's what works. And strong legislation.
That's right. You know, you know,
Did we lose you? Did we lose Joe this time? Joe, we got you.
Yep, I'm actually just reading about the mayor
Okay.
here and his experience. So yeah, so he was a planner for the division of planning and development for the city.
Okay.
And then he worked as a financial analyst for the community capital in Memphis. That's that guy's history. So that's what led him to qualifications of being elected as the mayor.
And running on a platform of tough on crime and reducing violent crime. Like I said, he chose that platform because that's what the polls said to run on. And he has, obviously, from the statements that I've read, he has no plan.
And you know, and I honestly, you know, we were sitting here talking about qualifications. Every one of us has within ourselves the ability. We possess the ability to just do the right thing, and it shouldn't be that hard to take a step back from that situation and realize that the right thing to do is to support that police department and support Officer McKinney's family. That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Tom.
How hard is that?
Yeah, no, good fucking point. Because here's the issue. You know what his plan should have been? Plan should have been, hey, you know what? Here's my plan for being to reducing crime. I'm going to let the Memphis Police Department do their fucking job.
Well,
I'm going to support them. I'm going to support them, and I'm going to let them do the job that they already. You didn't need to reinvent the wheel. Let them do their job. Quit posturing and let them do their job. And that's what's not happening in liberal ran cities like that. Look at Chicago. Now I'm gonna hit Chicago probably tomorrow night. You know, they had a shooting a couple days ago there, or last week over there, and the subject gets out shooting at the police officer, and they're wondering why he's dead. I mean, that's a real easy way to get killed.
Yeah,
and he should have been killed. So what are we even debating about? So Joe, what's your reading telling us?
Well, we number one priority for this mayor was public safety. Number one priority. It's public safety is the top issue on the minds of Memphis, and the next mayor must take thoughtful, swift, decisive actions to restore the safety in our communities. Too many families have been impacted by senseless gun violence.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
That officer was a family member, wasn't he?
Yeah. Have you heard that mindless pablum before? That's every single politician. Meaningless promises. I mean, how hard is it to sit down and say, okay, our biggest problem is violent crime. Let's give our officers the tools they need. Let's make sure that we have. And again, I'm not for locking everybody up, but let's make sure that our jails have the space they need to deal with people that need to be incarcerated. You know, in my area in Cincinnati, the Hamilton County Justice Center, which holds about 1,000 people, is 95% pre-sentence felons. You don't go to jail for any misdemeanors in this county anymore. None, because they have no room.
Well, it's
ridiculous. Yeah. Right.
So keep doing your misdemeanors and you'll be fine. So here's his priority list. Officer spends more time patrolling. Provide the police department with the resources necessary to reduce chaotic driving. Formalize a data sharing partnership and supplement the recent reinstatement of benefits and bonuses for police officers. So public safety, number one, his top priorities, none of those have anything to do with public safety.
Yeah.
No, you know, Joe, I know what you read, but let me tell you what I heard. Because what I heard was the poll says this is what the people are concerned about, and this is what my consultant or speechwriter said. Here it is.
Point taken. It's exactly it.
That's what
that
happened.
Was 100%.
This guy has no clue how to get there. Now, I'm not saying the man is a bad man. I'm not saying that he has bad intentions. I'm saying it's pretty damn obvious he doesn't know how to get there. Now, I'll tell you this, and I'm digging more into this, and I'm probably going to talk about it tomorrow night. And of course, y'all are welcome back for a glass of wine.
I love wine.
Can I drink
I'm gonna leave
bourbon
more
at
into
wine
it,
night?
but there's a program called Omaha 360, and how Omaha reduced violent crime. And this is what this mayor wants to do. And it's something about it. Look, I'm all about community programs, but in the last 16 years, it's a slow process. Yeah, I believe that. And it's getting into the schools or whatever or to programs with 5, 6-year-old kids. Yeah, I get that. Eventually you'll get a return on that. But when you're one of the top 3 every year in homicide, we don't have 16 years.
Right.
What is it going to do right now? Get out there and start kicking some ass and taking some fucking illegal guns off of the street and get them out of the guns out of the hands of thugs like this guy, and quit posturing and talking about gun control that you have no clue what you're talking about, Mayor.
Well, here's the challenge to him is that the last 2 shootings, this one happened, I think, at like 2:15 a.m. The one that happened just before that was at like 4 something a.m. Here's a challenge, Mayor. Go out and do a week-long ride-along on night shift and ask those people what needs to be done to actually stop the crime in Memphis.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, Tom, you said this a lot. A lot of these cops out there with the answer. Why aren't we asking them the question?
Right. I have a question for you. How many officers is the Memphis Police Department short right now? What's the morale?
Ooh, I
prior
tell you
to
what. I tell you what, I'm gonna do some more research, and I'm gonna invite y'all to be with me tomorrow night. And I promise you, over a glass of wine, I'll have those answers.
All right.
And I'm gonna dig more into this Omaha 360. And you're 100% right, and that goes back to what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks about recruiting.
Nobody wants to do this job because
here's I just Googled it, and here's one of the top statements in the article.
We might not have to drink tomorrow night.
Well, we're gonna still do it. Memphis police numbers dropped by nearly a quarter in recent years, where staffing shortages are a factor in the killing of Tyree Nichols. I don't know who Tyree Nichols is.
Well, yes, you do. That's going to be the one. Remember the one
Gotcha.
where the that's
Oh yeah, I do remember
was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where most of the officers ever involved were felons.
Yeah. I don't like to speak out of school, but let me tell you, I don't think they got that one right. I don't think he was beat to death like they said. I don't think they got that one right. That was a real big deal. And you know what? Let's look at it like that too. There's the way they handled that and the way those officers were just, I'm not saying they were right. What I'm telling you is that there was no due process in that. I'm going to dig more into that. We'll talk about that tomorrow night, because what I remember was these men were immediately convicted. And us 3 have talked about this.
Yeah.
When you don't give police officers the same due process that you give citizens, who in the fuck wants to do this job?
Nobody.
Well, here's the numbers.
So
2000.
All right,
September.
so I got a commitment. We're gonna be back tomorrow night. Tom, I know you don't drink wine much, but
I can drink bourbon on wine night.
Okay. Yeah. Well, brandy is actually wine. It's just it's just a different
I like some
version
brandy
of it.
now. I might drink some brandy tomorrow night.
Yeah. So here's the numbers. September 1st, 2011. Memphis Police Department, 2,449 officers. January 1st, or January 31st, 2023, 1,941. 500 officers less.
Wow.
Yep. I didn't even have to know. I did not look that up. I just knew it.
Everybody knows. It's everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere. And why is it? We talked about this the last time I was on, right?
There's no security. It's not worth doing the job.
I agree. I agree and disagree. It is everywhere, Joe, but there are places like, so Thursday, for the full podcast, Steve Lewis came on.
Oh
And
my
so,
God.
obviously, y'all know that it's going to be good with Steve Lewis. Oh yeah, so Steve, he tuned in on Thursday. Steve Lewis is on. Well, you know what? I think you said this too. Steve Portman's he's full staff. He's got a waiting list.
Mhm.
Yep. It's not
I
everywhere.
think you got to look at, and I did a presentation last week at a conference, and I put in there. I said every one of you has heard this statement, it's not just in law enforcement. You hear private small businesses always say nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. Well, in my opinion, there's two words that are missing in a lot of these statements. For you. Nobody wants to work for you. That's what people have to start looking at themselves.
Yep.
Before you look at anything else. We can't just discount and say, well, it's because of the atmosphere and the culture and anti-police. Yes, I agree. But you can't just discount it in every situation, because when I had Chief Nielsen here 3 weeks ago, who is assistant chief in Vancouver, Washington, which is a
Mhm.
fairly moderate to large size department. They're full. They are full. Now, she came from Portland, and Portland is not, they are barely half of what they used to be.
Yeah.
Barely half of what they used to be.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Is that's why people leave organizations, and they don't want to work for you, the mayor of Memphis.
Yep. You're sure because they don't want to
and the
work
major metropolitan areas, because what they're doing is those cops are still working, the ones that left.
Yeah.
But they're working for organizations that want them.
Yes.
And communities that want them.
And let me tell you this, and I'll put I was a political strategist for a long time and worked for, politicians. What I would be telling, if I'm gonna blame his advisors, if nothing else, even if he doesn't even support the police, he could be getting a win right now.
Mm-hmm.
He could be getting politically. I don't think it's he's this. They're advising him right, because he damn sure could be getting a win right now and going and really reeling his department in, and that's how you're gonna, because that's how you're gonna retain people. Because man, no telling me the people they're gonna lose after this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use an example from yesterday. You guys saw me unloading rocks out of hopper cars, right?
What the hell were you doing? You're a rock guy.
I'm a 56-year-old guy who's down there with chains unloading rock out of hopper cars. And you know who was standing right alongside of me doing it? My boss. And I love the opportunity I have at my job. And even though normally I'm a locomotive engineer, when that's what needed to be done yesterday, I was all in for it, because I want to work hard for them, because it's an organization that makes you feel like you're a part of something. That's the same exact thing we need to create in these police departments. Same exact thing.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I left 2 organizations because I didn't want to work for that leadership.
Yep.
That's what it boils down to, right?
No, I agree with that. I think that happens, and we've got to just leaders as leaders. We have to look at ourselves and really have that tough conversation with yourself. Say, why are people really leaving me? I can keep throwing excuses out there, but why are they really leaving? All right, so I'll get with y'all tomorrow. We'll plan on tackling this.
You got to get some good wine for tomorrow now, damn it. You're putting the pressure on, McGee. Come on, man.
Oh, no. Hold on now. We got a rule on Wine Wednesday.
Uh-oh.
Wine Wednesday, you cannot have, Wine Wednesday cannot be a bottle of wine more than $20.
Okay.
Because what I like to do in Wine Wednesday is also use it as a wine review and introduce our listeners to some wines that are less than $20.
Okay.
Very good.
So I'm leaving you off the hook.
Oh,
I
got
one.
That's a good sweet spot. $20 is a good sweet spot.
Yeah.
You can get
you can get a good. Let me tell you, $15
to
$20 is one of the. It's a good price point. You just got to find them, and I've got one that I know I'm gonna go get tomorrow that I have in mind that I think people will like. So, all right.
I
just
wish I had some McGe wine. Damn it, I'm out.
Well, hey, I tell you what. Next time you make a trip down here, you'll get another. I'm bringing a bunch with me to Kansas City. So
careful. I might you might hear the doorbell It's only like an hour and a half, I think.
We're going to do a
Oh, no, you-
podcast in
yeah.
Kansas City, right?
We are doing a podcast in Kansas City.
I'm in.
I'm trying to figure that. I'd like to do something with a large group. I'm gonna figure something out. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something neat there. I'll still have a little time to figure all that out. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow night, Wine Wednesday. Until then, McGee, Wells, and Collins are out.